Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Worldhoppers, our collaborative booktube channel where we talk all things mostly fantasy, but other genres as well. And all of the money from monetization and merch sales goes to charity. And we are all here. We've all been here before on the channel. And today we're just doing a quarter 1 recent wrap up, just a wrap up of stuff we've read. We've done a video like this with just new releases on Worldhoppers already, which Mara and I were in. But this is just all books we've read wrap up. So excited. Let's get going. I have some banners here. So let's get started with our most disappointing. Let's get the negativity out of the way. Bish, would you like to start?
Sure. I had to recap what I've read, even though I've only read 19 books so far from like January to March. The most disappointing is The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. That one was really disappointing. I thought it was going to be like very political heavy and we're going to basically I just felt like it was going to be politically heavy, but it was just kind of the same politics over and over again. And I thought in the halfway point it was going to go a different direction, but it did not. That was very disappointing. And also the characters were very, very dumb and kept making the same mistake.
That one was I read that last year, but it was one of my most disappointing because I was so hyped for it. I pre-ordered it, and then I felt the same way. Like I don't mind a quest, like an adventure we're going on, and we're going from point A to point B, and maybe even a point C, whatever. But I was so annoyed that they kept like just going back to the same places.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we have to go back there now. And I'm like, can we stop doing this?
And also, like they had this interesting lore and place that they were supposed to go, and they just never end up talking about it or going there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I want to read the sequel because I am very interested in that mysterious place. So I want to see if like reviews of the second book first, then I might read the second one. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, we did that one for a book club I'm in, and it was pretty split, but I kind of fell more with you, Vish, of like it was very promising. Do you know what I mean? Like I would read more from the author, but the book itself just didn't give what I was hoping it would give me. And by the end it was like, well, that kind of felt like a lot of circles. Like, I don't really know where we got.
Yeah, same. No fun. Tori, how about you?
So my first disappointing read of the year is Behind the Throne by KB Wagers. It's this adult sci-fi, I guess you can call it a space opera, but there's a very small portion of it that I guess is space opera. But this woman, she was the empress of this. Well, she's the princess of this society, and she actually escaped from her home because of all the political turmoil. And the novel starts with her being dragged back because people are trying to like rise up against her empire. So, I mean, the premise sounded so good. And by the time we meet her, she's had all this experience doing all this illegal activity. But it was just so disappointing because the whole book is spent with her like at home, just trying to get caught up on politics. And it just wasn't as exciting as I wanted it to be, unfortunately. There was so much tension between the characters, but I felt like scenes weren't drawn out as long as they should have been. And then really good scenes where we were getting to know the characters more were just cut a little bit too short. So it just wasn't for me. And unfortunately, it's a trilogy too. And I was really excited to continue on, but I will not be doing that anymore.
It's always a bummer.
Yeah.
Huge bummer. What about you, Mara?
I'm looking at my list. I had some DNFs, but I didn't read them enough. I mean, I'll leave them alone. Like that's probably not fair. I mean, they're definitionally the most disappointing if I didn't even like them enough to keep going. But I guess I would say, I was just telling you about this the other day, Joshana, but I would probably say To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara. It's speculative literary fiction. Like it's got 3 timelines. One is a different past than what we actually had. One is mostly the present in our world, and then one is a dystopian future. And it's like the same characters, but in each timeline they have like a different life happening. And it's just a real long book. And I don't know, like for that kind of book, I want to have like some deeper insight into the human condition or really enjoy the language. Like it's, it's meant to be like literature. So I want something like that makes it worth a
All those
less
pages.
entertaining reading experience.
Yeah.
And it was just real bland. I felt like it just was sort of fine. And I've not read their Yanagihara's like big book is A Little Life. Like that's the one that everybody reads and weeps over. And I haven't read that, but apparently in that one as well, there's some like questionable portrayals of gay men together. And I kind of felt like that in the book, but like hearing that it's also in a different book, like makes that bother me more. So I don't know. I gave it 2.5 stars. Like it's not like the worst thing I've ever read, but it just was like, God, this was real long for me to not like this more.
So. It always sucks. Yeah. When you like, I read so many pages. I wanted like some kind of payoff here.
Yeah.
Positive payoff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that about their works too. And yeah, A Little Life, I'm like, that is one I'm not ever.
I read A Little Life last year. It was
okay. What did you think?
Books that I read of last year. It wasn't for me. I don't want to bash it too much because I know so many people like that book is really impactful for them, but it did not work for me. For me, it was trauma for the sake of trauma.
Yeah, that's how I think I would feel about it, and that's why I'm just not gonna. Because I just from what I've heard about it, like I think that would be my experience as well. Of like, so we're just like unloading all the things.
Yeah, right. Which is so. This is it, huh? So
yeah. So for me, I just have avoided that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Tori, that helps me. That makes me feel better about my feelings to not read that and my feelings about To Paradise. So
there you go. I have had a couple DNFs also, but 2 of them were like just not like I didn't hate them. It was just like just very much not for me. One was pretty disappointing because it was probably my most, and I talked about it in the other video too, because it was a new release. It was like probably my most anticipated new release of the year, Siren Queen by Nevo. And it was weird because it was like the same writing style, which I really loved in The Chosen and the Beautiful last year, but it just wasn't working for me this time around. It was just feeling like I was in like some weird trippy fever dream where like, which I know a lot of people like that, like this kind of like very ethereal, atmospheric, mostly vibes, like magical realism type of thing. I tend not to like that, but I did like it in The Chosen and the Beautiful. So I was like, yeah, maybe it's this author. But then no, I read this one. I was like, all right, once again, I'm like, why are we doing this? What is happening? Why are we not saying what we should be saying? What even just happened right there? And like, it's just not the thing for me. So I know, like I said, a lot of people love that type of book, but not I. So that was definitely disappointing.
It feels like it kind of died on the vine. Like I heard about it coming like as an anticipated release, but I've like seen, you're the only person I've seen actually read it or talk about it, Joshana. So I don't know.
Yeah, I had even pre-ordered it. Like I had done like a kind of bulk pre-order with bookshop.org. And then I had the NetGalley e-arc of that one. And I read like, I want to say 30 or 40% before I was like, I just don't. I feel like I'm going to end up just feeling very lukewarm to negative about this. I'm just going to stop. And I emailed them and I'm like, can I cancel this one book from my pre-order order, please? And they did. I felt bad, but I just didn't. I did not have a good time. So probably that one. Yeah, it was a bummer. Bummer. Okay, so positive note though. What's been most surprising for us all?
Are we going back in the same order?
Yeah, we can go in the same order. Yeah. Unless you wish.
I'll say Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marillier. That
yeah.
one was really surprising because at first the story was told through a lot of exposition in the beginning, and I don't like that. I like a mixture of both dialogue and exposition. So I was just like, okay, maybe this is just going to be a 3-star. I'm not really loving it. But the whole exposition thing has a purpose to the plot, and it was just basically a story being told, and the main character can't speak. So the only way that you can know the story is through her thoughts. And I don't know, I just got so attached to her and all the characters around her and the story itself. And it was just so beautifully told that I just ended up loving it a lot. And I gave it 5 stars. It is a very, very beautiful story. I'm very scared to read the second book because the people that I'm buddy reading it with are not enjoying it. So
It's a
I'm
bummer.
scared.
Uh-oh.
But
I
yeah.
read that a couple years ago, and I don't remember what I rated it. I remember that I enjoyed it. I didn't give it like 5 stars, but I remember that I enjoyed it. But then like it's a book where I just like I've kind of forgotten like about it or like what I loved about it so much. And like I initially was like wanting to continue on with the series, and just over the years I've been like, I think I'm good. But it was a very I really liked it when I read it though. I remember like really enjoying the story and everything and like the setting and
Yeah.
just it was cool. I
It's
always warn people though because I've seen a lot of people comment like, "Oh, I want to read that." Blah blah blah. And I always warn them of the pretty graphic
yeah, I
sex
was gonna
assault.
say
Like,
That's why
it's
I've never
really
read
because
graphic.
it's one of the more graphic, detailed ones that I've ever read.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, just
I
it's
was
only
not
one
prepared for
scene. It
that.
happens once, but like it is pretty intense. So
Yeah, it is pretty intense. Like she obviously that trauma follows her and you
mhm.
hear her thoughts about it. So it's pretty prevalent throughout the book. So it's a very dark story, but it's very beautifully told.
Yeah.
And you just it's we talked about this in a live show where it's kind of like Robin Hobb where you're very attached to these characters and you don't want anything bad happen to them, but things keep happening to them and you're like, please no.
Yeah.
So it's
Stop.
literally that.
Yeah,
It's sad.
it is very much.
I guess that speaks to their skills as writers of like, God, I love these characters, but God, you just keep destroying me with them. Like, why do you
Right.
let them do this to me?
Yeah.
Why do I keep
Just leave
putting
them
myself-
alone.
Yeah. How about you, Tori? What's your most surprising?
So mine is Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. And this I feel is so hit or miss for people. This is sci-fi horror. And it was a surprise for me because I don't read a ton of horror, let alone like SF horror, but it was just so entertaining. I was hooked from the very beginning. And even when we got to the middle and things started getting a little weird, I was still like, this is so fun. So I really enjoyed it. It was really suspenseful and it played on a lot of like themes that I enjoy in horror films. So yeah, it was really good. We're following this captain of the ship, and she and her crew, they are in deep space and they find this luxury liner that went missing over 20 years ago, and like nobody knows what happened to it on Earth. And so her crew, they step foot on the liner and things just get so weird from there. And the captain is telling her story after she's been found. I really enjoyed it, but I think it definitely loses people around the midway point, but it still worked for me.
Nice. Yeah, I saw that on a lot of people's like most anticipated lists.
It was good for me. I gave it 4 stars, so yeah.
Well, when you say it loses people, is it because it takes like a bold move that some people just don't like, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when you start finding out what is actually happening on the ship and everything, and stuff starts coming out, some readers are just like, no, like that's ridiculous. So, but even when I started getting to those moments, I was like, okay, like that's whatever. I'm still here for it. This is still like entertaining, and it was good. So, I will read more by S.A. Barnes in the future.
See, that
It's
kind of
always fun.
you want to
when
try
you
it. Like, yeah, if it makes a bold move, I'm kind of
Curious to see like,
intrigued.
Yeah, just go for it. Go for it. Have fun.
Give it a shot. Give it a shot. How about you, Mara?
I went and grabbed my copy. So on a positive note for Nevo,
Oh
the
yes,
Impact of Salt and Fortune.
I like
So
that.
this surprised me in a good way for two reasons. One, I picked this because I was doing a vlog where tarot cards were like my prompt. So
Mhm.
this was my Empress pick, and it
Mhm.
ended up the themes of this. I would have had no way of knowing this, but the themes of this ended up really going with what the Empress card is supposed to represent. So that was a cool surprise. But then also, I don't think I'd realized that this, like the storytelling in this,
Mhm.
how the story unfolds, it just wasn't what I was expecting, but in a great way. Like it's very fable-like kind of.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like you're like sitting around a campfire and like
Yeah.
someone is telling you like a folk tale or like like a
Yeah.
fable and things.
It's very
Yeah.
cozy.
Yeah,
And
it is like weirdly cozy, especially considering what goes on.
yeah.
Yeah.
in the book.
The content is kind of dark when the story starts like
Yeah.
unfolding. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked the second one even better when the tiger came down the mountain.
See, I have it. I've not read it yet. And then there's a third one I think that comes out
Yeah, this year.
yeah, this year. So
wow.
I am also anticipating that one.
But-
Yeah, when the tiger came down the mountain, I liked even better because like I was cracking up at because it's like another like same it's in the same world too. And it's
is
another
it the
like
same
fable.
characters?
So there's one of the same characters. I can't remember the names now.
Is it the traveling priest?
Yes. That character is there, but the bird character, what's their name? I don't know. They're not there,
Oh, I
but they're
forgot.
coming back in the second one. Or in the third one. But there's tigers, like actual tigers that like are speaking to our main character and like telling a story. And it's like the main character being like, here's what I know of this tale, and the tigers being like, that's not how it happened. We will tell you the truth. And then there's three tigers and like they bicker amongst themselves and like are like, nah, you don't even know what you're talking about all the time. And they're just cracking me up. I was like, these
That's so cute.
silly tigers, like they're just, I don't know why they're cracking me the heck up, but it was really cool. Like you're getting the same story twice, but like just here's our perspective and like nah, here's what actually happened.
Oh, so it's the same. It's not the same story as told though in the Empress. Okay.
No.
Okay, so it's a new
Different
story, but two different perspectives within the book. Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I have it. I haven't read it yet. But you've piqued my interest to get to it. So
those ones surprised me too because I don't tend to I don't pick up novellas a heck of a lot, just in general, because like a lot of times I end up being a little disappointed with them because I think I don't know, it's like hard. I feel like it's kind of hard to like
for sure
do a really complete
very hard
story in a novella. That one, I think you read it also, Mara. Oh my gosh, what was it called? Was it another thing with a tiger? Yeah. The Fireheart something.
Oh, the Fireheart tiger.
Oh, the Fireheart tiger. Yeah.
Yeah, that one I was kind of disappointed with. Like, and I would read from that author again because I'm like, I liked the characters and I liked the plot, like the concept of it all. I thought was cool, but it felt just like way too rushed. I was like, I don't what.
Yeah. That one's on my TBR too.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I think I gave it like 3 or something, but
I think I liked it better than you did. But I mean, I see what you're saying. I'm especially in a novella, I'm pretty okay with it being a lot of vibes. And the vibes were great. So I was okay with that. But I mean, I take your point. I think the reason I was guessing Ring Shout is to me, that is like one of the most
I love Ring Shout.
Perfect examples of like how much world building, how many things, great. Like it's just so much in like 170 pages. Like it is a masterclass in a novella.
I
really
agree.
is.
Yeah. Like from the first page, I just always say like the characters literally just like jump off the page. The way I described it is like from the first couple pages, I felt like I knew these characters. I felt like I was watching episode 12 in season 3 of a TV show that I love, where I'm like, I know these characters, I love them. I love these characters so much. I'm here, but like I'm just meeting them. But he just wrote it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Nevo novellas, I was quite surprised with also because I'm like, I really had a fun time with this.
They're really, I think they're definitely worth, especially because they are so short. Like, I think if you're wanting to give Nevo a try, like, this is where I would tell people to go, as opposed to The Chosen and the Beautiful, because I personally didn't love that one as much, and I think it's a more polarizing book.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
and easier for people to get into.
Yeah, fully agree. I think my most surprising probably has to be, which, I mean, I pre-ordered it, like, so I was expecting to like it, or I was hoping to like it, I guess I should say. But I was surprised with how much I liked it. And I have it, but it's in the other room. So Many Beginnings by Bethany C. Morrow, which is part of that Fuel and Friends publisher, the classics remixes they're doing, the young adult classics remixes. They already did the like Robin Hood one. I don't remember what it's called. And then they have this one. And then I'm highly anticipating What Souls Are Made Of by Tasha Suri, I think, or Tara Sim, which is a Wuthering Heights reimagining. I'm like, oh, I'm so happy. But So Many Beginnings is a Little Women reimagining and remix. And oh my God, it was so good. And I DNF'd the actual like original of Little Women. I've seen the like 1946 or whatever movie just countless times in my childhood. My grandma had like a VHS of it that I would watch all the time. And then I've seen the new like 2019 movie just once. And I always loved like the old movie of it. And then the book, I was like, that is so boring. Oh my God, I don't need to know. But every time somebody swept the floor and like knitted some booties or whatever, it was so bored. Oh God, so long, and it's so tedious. But
it's very long. I think it could have used some editing, but
yeah, it's super long. But I was like hoping that this one would be like the vibes of it all, but like not so boring. And oh my God, I kind of wish this one was a little longer because it's like super short. And it's all the same characters, obviously, but they are a Black family right around the ending of the Civil War, and they're in a like freed people's colony in Roanoke Island. And so obviously it's very different as far as their life experiences and what's going on with them. They were all born into slavery and now are like out of it and like figuring out what life is going to be. And it's the same like setup, the same framework where like the dad isn't at home, it's mom and the 4 girls, and it's the same like archetypes generally. Like Joe is still the creative, free spirit, independent, wants to like write and whatever. And yeah, I just really, really liked it. And she made some changes that I really, really liked that I can't say because they're very spoilery. But like major plot point changes that I think made so much sense for this. And I liked it because like she was still talking about important things and talking about like what their lived experience was at this time. And she would reference like the before time when they were enslaved, but it wasn't like a bunch of trauma, like of like they were talking about themes of like microaggressions and whatever, but it wasn't like we were seeing our main characters like just constantly like dealing with it like in the book, if that like on page, if that makes sense. They were just talking about like this is the type of thing that can happen to us or has happened to us, but it wasn't necessarily like you were seeing it happen to them on the page. I don't know how else to describe it, but I just really liked it. Like yeah, she did a really good job of like still having these important conversations and these themes of all these different things, like medical racism and just like not listening to people of color and obviously in this case Black women. And I mean that's still a thing today. And I just thought she did like a really good weaving of talking about these things but without it being just like trauma dumping on our characters. So I really liked it. And yeah, just some of the changes. It's like going to be such a comfort read, I think, for me. I'm going to reread it anytime I'm like, I just want like a cozy, feel good, happy times. Like, so cute.
That's
Well,
awesome.
like,
I just put it on my TBR. So
you sold the hell out of it. I'm gonna.
yeah, seriously. I got my Goodreads open right
Without
now.
being spoilery, I will say the Joe Laurie relationship, top tier. Just
Oh, wow.
top tier. There's asexual representation in the book also.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, so good.
I will say, Joshana, that makes me want to recommend. Oh gosh, what's it called? I'll have to look up the specific title. But Beverly Jenkins, one of the things she does in her historical romance is it's very similar. Of like, she's very good about recognizing the reality of enslaved people and like the post. Like their lives after that. But it's because their romances, they're always very hopeful. So like she's really, I love what she does to find like pockets of true history in America, but like show, you know, like Black people like making a life for themselves and having these romances. And so like it you get some of that theme, but it's wrapped in like the coziness and loveliness of like it's a romance. So like everything's gonna end up good.
That was very much the vibes of this too, like very hopeful.
Yeah.
Very super, super hopeful, heartwarming. So cute. So yeah, that one was very surprising.
Sold.
I wanted to like it.
Yeah, sold, right?
All right, everybody go read it. And it's like shorter too, so you know, it's young adult, whatever. So okay. More negativity. If we want to talk about more
negativity.
Just bottom few. If you have like a bottom 2, bottom 35, just like things we hated so far. You already know what I'm.
And how? Remind me again of our time frame. Is it through March or like through now?
Yeah, because I'm like, I have things just through now
what is
too.
quarter 1? through the end of March?
Like the end of March, yeah.
Okay, end of March. Okay.
Yeah. That's what you got.
Okay, first we have the Unbroken. We have the Unbroken. And then sadly we have The Killing Moon by N.K. Jemisin. And
whoa, that is
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't read it, but whoa, like
I liked the second one. I like the second one a bit better, which is The Shadowed Sun.
That's so funny because I DNF'd the second one.
I had to because it's for
oh my God, Jemisin blasphemy.
I had to read it. If I didn't have to read it, I wouldn't have continued on to the second book. But I did like The Shadowed Sun better because of the romance, and I did not expect that. But I was very disappointed with The Killing Moon, so that was my bottom. And the last one is Even If We Break. It is a YA thriller that was not very good. They named the main character Ever, so you can see how there's a lot of word plays with that. I've tabbed a lot of it with purple tabs every time she writes the name Ever with like whatever or like forever. And I'm just like, oh, why? No. This is like the worst name ever.
Literally. I'm not here for her puns, not here for her wordplay.
No.
Dad jokes.
Yeah, no, actually.
Seriously. It was like the worst name. And even the mystery part was very predictable. Like, knew who the killer was immediately. But I will say it was very atmospheric. But it was not enough. That was 2 stars.
Could not carry it
for me. The Killing Moon was just like average. But it was very disappointing that I just kind of hate read it. So it was like a 2.5 for me, sadly.
Bummer time.
But I have hopes for her other books with like the 5th season and stuff, obviously. But
I've decided N.K. Jemisin just is not the author for me, unfortunately. Because I read the 5th season years ago and was like, no, thank you. And then I read The Killing Moon and I felt like, okay, it's like kind of felt similarly about it that I felt with the 5th season with the writing style, but I was like, but I don't hate it. And then The Shadowed Sun, I was just like, nope, here we are again, where I'm just like, no, I'm not here for it.
Like, I like the writing style.
Too dumb. I'm too dumb for N.K. Jemisin.
Oh my gosh, no. What?
I like the writing style. It's just that The Killing Moon, the plot was just very, very average. Like, it's just a basic plot. and it moves through really, really slow, even though it's only like a 300-ish, 400-ish page book. It just moved really slow with a very basic plot. But I'm just hoping that 5th season and the Inheritance trilogy.
You'll probably really like that. If the writing style isn't what bothers
I
you,
like no,
then
it's
I
not.
feel
I
like
really
you'll love the 5th season. Probably.
Yeah.
because I DM'd the city we became as well because of the plot. I did not.
I've heard about
see
that
people
one.
not
I've heard
liking-
very
yeah.
yeah.
That one is pretty mixed. The City We Became.
Yeah.
So I would go back and read Broken Earth trilogy before that one.
Well,
I feel like you'll really like that.
She has a collection called How Long Till Black Future Month.
Oh yeah.
And that's where I started, and I'm glad I started with that because it gives you like a flavor of all the different kinds of stories she tells.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if then I read The City We Became, and I think if I'd started with that, I don't know that I would have read more, even though I liked it okay.
Yeah.
Just because it's a bold book.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in that one. I still have the Inheritance trilogy? The 100,000 Kingdoms or
Yeah,
whatever.
100,000
I have that, and I'm like, people keep saying, even though I didn't really love the 5th season and I don't love this duology, they're like, no, I think you'll probably like that one. And I'm like, all right, we'll see. Fingers crossed. I'm gonna give it a shot because I own it. So
you get one more chance, Shoshana.
Yeah, one more chance before I'm like, okay, I need to be done. Her writing style just always makes me feel like confused. That's why I'm like, I think maybe I'm just too dumb because I'm like, and I hate saying this because I know she's so beloved and I feel like it's sacrilege, but I feel like it's kind of pretentious is how it comes across to me.
Oh.
Just like, I'm so very smart. I don't think that's actually what she sounds like or what she's intending, but that's how I read it. And so I'm just like, I just should maybe not anymore. Because that's my experience.
It's okay, Joshana. My heart is just breaking over here.
I know, like I said, it's like sacrilege. It's like blasphemy.
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm like, what? That's why I'm like, I'm just dumb. Just leave me alone. I'm just
like, no.
She
plays around with structure so much, and I think in the Broken Earth trilogy, she's just like, I'm gonna lay it all out. This is my writing style, and I love the
deal with it or don't.
Yeah, seriously, deal with it. Yeah, come along or stay where you are, kind of situation.
Yeah,
it's a strong flavor, and not everybody like. I mean, I hate mint chocolate chip, but other people love that flavor. Like, it's very distinct. So it's not for you.
Yeah, I think it is. How about you, Tori?
So my bottom 3, 3 to 5, I would say definitely Behind the Throne. The one I mentioned was most disappointing.
Yeah.
Hunt the Stars. Actually, they're all sci-fi, unfortunately. Hunt the Stars, which I recently finished. Just underwhelming.
Is that
it's
a new
sci-fi
release? I think I have that.
It is a new release. Yeah, I think it came
out in
February.
And there's like a little
it's
animal
blue
on the cover.
Yes, it's blue cover and like shadows of a man and woman. Yeah. It's a sci-fi romance. Wasn't for me. Just I felt underwhelmed. I was enjoying it too. Like maybe for the first 100 pages, but when their romance started to develop, I was just like, okay, this is too much happening right now. So Hunt the Stars. Mickey 7, that's another new release, sci-fi release that I read in Q1. And I was just like, I don't care. That one was also just very underwhelming, very lackluster. It's like this man, he's an expendable because his team is like trying to just find the dangers on this planet. And so every time something happens, he's sent out on a different mission. And if he dies, then they're just gonna like make another one of him to take up the mission with like his same memories. And by the time we start the story, he's Mickey 7. And then a Mickey 8 is created when they think that he's dead. It was too much going on. I did not enjoy that. And then the last one was All You Need Is Kill by Hiroshi Sakudazaka. And so the movie Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt was actually adapted from that book. And the first half of it was good, but it just became so messy by the end of it. It's this soldier during this alien invasion, and he dies in battle the first time, and he has to keep reliving the same day before battle and leading into the battle. I didn't care after a certain point. So that's my bottom 3 to 5.
That sounds a little tedious.
Yeah.
Like that as a premise, I would be like, nah, I'm good. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't.
it was so good in the first part of the story because you're wrapped up in the intrigue of like, well, what's actually going on? Like what, how is he reliving the same day? And by the time that it keeps happening, you start finding that there's a woman involved who kind of knows what's going on. And once you start getting into her story, I was just like, no. So
just no.
Just no. I'm good.
Too funny. Mara, how about you?
I'm looking at my spreadsheet. So the two that I didn't DNF that I'll mention, one is Death and the Dancing Footmen. This is an Golden Age of Detective like mystery. And I just was effing bored. I was just really bored of this. And it was such a cool premise. Like it's everybody getting drawn together and then people start dying. Like I love that. But yeah, I was just bored. And then Miracle Creek. I wanted to mention this.
Wow.
Yeah, just because it's very well written and it's very much like a book club book. Like it's based on like it's like a court case trial thing, and then like it's got a lot of different like, well, then there's this perspective and then there's this perspective. But the reason I found this disappointing is because I think that there is some pretty intrinsic ableism around autism in this that I don't really see people talking about that much. And I kind of mentioned it in passing when I was first talking about it. And a lot of my viewers who are autistic said like, yes, like this is not. So I just want to mention this because I don't think it doesn't mean you can't like the book or can't read it. I just think that it's something that should be talked about more. So anyway, that kept bothering me because I was like, am I crazy? Like, am I seeing things? So, and then the two that I DNF'd, one was another random mystery, but it's like a paranormal mystery called The Dark Side of the Road by Simon Green, because the hero or the main character was just like so insufferable. And it was like he's like an immortal and he's solving this mystery, but he's such a jerk about it that I just couldn't read anything else from him. And then I DNF'd A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee.
Oh yeah.
Which came out last year.
I've been seeing that around, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a gothy boarding school kind of situation. And I know a lot of people really liked it, but for me it was intolerably melodramatic. Like it just
oh no.
Which like I feel, it is YA, so maybe like I know teen Mara probably would have liked that more of like just many feelings. It was too many feelings for adult me, so I couldn't get through that one.
Fair.
Funny. Yeah. I feel like there's so many books like that now. Like I realized in the last couple of years, I'll still pick it up every now and then if it's like a truly intriguing enough premise or whatever. Yeah. But a lot of young adult, I'm like, I feel like I'm just like aging out of it because a lot of the time I'll pick it up thinking like, oh, this sounds really fun. And then I'll feel like that. I'm like, oh my God, these teenagers. And like when I was younger, I would have been like, oh my God, the angst, the drama of it all. But now I'm just like, oh, it's not that deep, you guys.
Which is why it's not that deep. Like middle grade gives me what I used to get from YA a lot, which is like I just like reading about characters and it's like different conflicts and whatever. But like middle grade tends to be like more wholesome.
Yeah.
And I'm just my dotage. That's just what I want. So
that's real. I can relate to that, Mara. I feel like in the last couple of years, I've read a lot of not a lot, but I've read middle grade that I feel like I can appreciate now as an adult. Probably more so than I would have when I was a child. So middle grade is just so warm and wholesome. But yeah, I don't struggle too much with YA. I don't know. I still like YA science fiction, but for some reason I can't read YA fantasy like I used to. Every now and then I'll pick up a YA fantasy, but YA SF, I'm still like, yeah, I'll check this out.
Is there very much YA SF? I feel like I don't see it pushed
it's there much. Yeah, it's not pushed very often, but it's there like every now and then. Like This Mortal Coil is a big like YA sci-fi renegades, and then you start moving into like YA dystopian like Scythe and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I always feel bad anytime on my channel when I'll be like, oh, a young adult that didn't work out for me. I'm always like, it's not because it's bad. We don't hate young adult here or like disparage young adult here. It's just like at a certain point you just kind of like age out of a lot of it where it's like the tone just isn't working anymore necessarily.
I still really enjoy YA mystery thriller. Like that tends to be the majority of YA I pick up at this point. But I agree with you, Tori. Like I've struggled with YA fantasy in the last couple of years. Like I have to be really in the right mood, I think, to often get into
really
it.
Vibe with it. Yeah.
See, I'm the opposite. Like I can't read YA thrillers anymore, but I can still read like YA fantasy because I'm already a dramatic person, so I can relate.
But you're like, I'm still with you. I'm still with you.
But with like YA thrillers, I feel like the mystery itself, for me, I feel like it's very predictable. So I tend to kind of stay away from that. I just enjoy adult thrillers.
Be more surprising.
Yeah, I think for me, and sorry to go on this tangent, but I like YA thrillers, I think in the same slot that some readers read cozy mystery, which is like, it's not that I'm not really going for true mystery or true thrills. Yeah. I just want like
the feel,
a safe,
the feel of it.
Yeah, like I'm probably going to be able to figure out who done it in the first like 10 pages, and that's fine. Along with the ride, and like I don't know.
It's about the journey.
Yeah. I'm just in the mood for that kind of like coziness of a predictable mystery.
Familiar, a familiar thing. Yeah. That makes sense. My bottom, I mean, obviously, I DNF'd it, but Siren Queen, like that was a bummer and a half. I had 2 other DNFs, but one was one that I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it because it's like adult contemporary like lit fic. I think, I don't know, family saga type thing. Transcendent Kingdom by Ya Gyasi.
Oh yeah.
I went into it kind of knowing like this might not be my thing. It was very much not my thing at all. I just kind of the authorial voice, and then also the structure of like how the story was being told. It just felt very like we're in the current time and we're doing science stuff and testing on rats for all these science jargon reasons. And I'm going to talk about my research for a little bit. And, that made me think of when I was a kid and my brother did this thing. And, now I'm talking about that. Like all this, like kind of weaving in and out inner monologue here and there and everywhere. And just not for me. So, but it wasn't like I hate this. Just like not the business. And then For the Wolf by Hannah Witten, I also DNF'd, but again, just because I was kind of bored.
I see things about that a lot.
Yeah, the writing style, it's so like atmospheric and very, very beautiful writing. I was liking that part of it, but I just was like, okay, can we start like can we pick up? And then the main character, it's not a spoiler because it's in the premise that like there's magic in this world and it's fantasy, but the whole like I have this very powerful, dangerous magic that I'm scared to use, but in order to like be better at it, I need to practice. And everyone's like, you got to practice. You got to work on it. You got to learn how to control it. And she's being like, but it's scary. I might hurt someone.
No.
Yeah, you're going to hurt someone if you don't learn to control it. Like, hello? I was just like, I can't do this. I can't. Like,
this is like Poppy all over again.
Yes, like that started to happen. I'm just like, I get that. Like, I'm not saying I don't understand the like, but it's scary, but it's like, but logically, if you don't learn to control it, it's even worse and more scary. So it's just like not making sense in my brain that you're like, no, I shan't practice. I'm like, just.
And it's kind of like, we know you're going to do this already, so let's just skip ahead a couple of steps.
Yeah, exactly. Like just start doing the thing. So yeah.
I was just like, Shoshana, that surprises me to hear now that I've read Jade City, because what's her face? Like that's like her deal the whole first book.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. But I also she's not my favorite. So
okay, well there you go.
And there are other characters. When in this, it's like kind of just following her, being like, no. It's like, just freaking do it. Oh my God. So yeah. But I was mostly just kind of bored. And then obviously, clearly,
here we go.
Well, then there was one I didn't like first, The Henna Artist by Alca, Joshi, which is a historical fiction. Loved the writing style and the authorial voice. Loved like learning about 1950s India, like super the caste system and like all the stuff. But the main character was kind of like too stupid to live type of character. Of like, not too stupid to live, ignorant, willfully ignorant. There would be like, oh, this thing is happening over here, that she like hears a conversation briefly and it sounds like weird and like maybe we should follow up on this. And she would just be like, no, I'm doing my thing. And then later on, that conversation that she didn't follow up on blows up in her face and like something really drastic happens. And like her life is just like slowly spiraling because she just will not like pay attention to anything going on around her. And I was just like, oh my God. Me and Monet buddy read that and both of us were like, she's kind of driving me nuts. She's like the main character. So it was just a little bit like not fun to read from her perspective and just being like, girl, ask some questions about this thing. What are we doing? She's like, no, I'm just going to keep moving forward towards my goals, even though everything is falling apart around me. So that was dumb. But yeah, House of Sky and Breath is like one of my new least fave books I've ever read in my life, I think.
That's intense.
I was so anticipating it. Like I said, I reread the first book and it held up. I gave it the same like rating. I was like, I got all emotional again at the end. And I was just like, I'm ready. I'm ready for book 2.
It was very different. Very different.
Yeah, it was very different.
I just enjoyed the ride.
Me too. Like I am surprised by how not surprised, but like it's funny to see how many people don't like this book. And I came out of it, I was like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah.
I was so wow. Yeah, I was like, wow, what just happened?
Yeah.
And then you get one, everyone's like, that was terrible. And I'm like, what?
The ending I wasn't mad at, and I would have probably been like, yeah, had I not already just been so over it. Like by the time I got there, I was like, cool, I don't give a crap about what we're doing here anymore. And I think I also like, I started off almost immediately being very, very irritated with something that I don't think most other people like even noticed or cared about. But and it's not spoilery. Well, unless you haven't read the first book, I guess. But if you've read the first book, like the love interests, the two people, like all through, and like the main character in the first book was very promiscuous, but like openly, like, yeah, I sleep around, what of it, you know? And like someone calling her like, you're being a slut. And she's like, does that make me a bad person because I sleep around? Like, no, leave me alone about it. And I was like, yeah, I like this. Like, I'm here for being very unapologetically like, I'm an adult choosing to do this and I want to do it just because I think it's fun and I enjoy it. You know, I was like, yes, I like this. And then in book 2, what, like a different character, a different person, and all of a sudden being like, I must wait until this arbitrary amount of time to sleep with the man I was going to die for and go into slavery for in the first book. I was going to sell myself into slavery for you, but now we need to get to know each other a little better before we...
Are you serious? Really?
Yeah. And I was just like, I don't like this message. I don't like this message at all. Like,
but I mean, you see how long that lasted, though. Not very long.
Yeah. Not even halfway.
Literally not even halfway through.
400 pages before. Like, it was so... And we already did that. The whole first book was like,
I'm just biased because I always want them to go to Pound Town. Like I just
and they don't. But like, also in the first book, I'm like, you guys already fooled around. Like,
yeah, they did.
Appendages have been inside other people, like, you know. But
now
we're like,
that makes me wonder if they're like appendages that humans don't have. Are these
normal? I just didn't want to say because it's
okay.
vulgar. but yeah, appendages are
Okay.
inside.
I was imagining. I was like, does this person have like a tail? Like
No.
situation? Like, what's the deal? I read a
But
lot.
yeah, then in this book, we're like, no, we must wait to have penetration. I'm just like, okay. I just didn't like the message because I feel like it's such a message of like, I don't know, like this whole concept of like if you sleep with someone too early, like that means something about you. Or like you can sleep around all you want, but the minute you want something real and meaningful, you have to wait to have sex. If you have sex too early, then it won't like mean anything or it won't be a special relationship. I'm like, or you just want to bang this person. Like if you both want to, don't like wait just because. Like I've had like so many girlfriends that do that. Like I'm gonna wait until this, even though I want to, I have the desire to sleep with this man, but I'm gonna wait until the 4th date so that he'll respect me. And I'm just like, if he's gonna be like that, he's not gonna respect you all of a sudden just because you
either
made
way.
him wait.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be a different person just because you made him wait.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that's why the main character was doing it, but it just felt very like, well, now we want a meaningful relationship, so we must wait to have sex. And I was like, you could do both. Like you could do both. You already almost did. You already have confessed like undying love for each other. So what is this about? So like immediately in the first chapter, I was just like, okay, here we go. I hate this. I hate it. So I was annoyed right off the bat. And also the big mystery that in the prologue we learn about, and everyone's it's like the missing persons case. We're looking for this person because they have all this power. In the prologue, I was like, I already know what the deal is. Like I was like, well, this is the truth. And like obviously. And I don't know if I'm just too familiar with Sarah J. Maas's like foreshadowing, where like I don't think I'm like so smart. I mean, I was just saying like I'm too dumb for MK Jemisin. But like I think I'm just too familiar with Sarah J. Maas and how she does foreshadowing and stuff.
Shauna's schema is like greater than
right.
Less
greater than Sarah J. Maas.
Very wide range. Yeah. But yeah, so like the whole time we were like, ooh, I was like, I already know that.
Yeah, that mystery wasn't like a whole big deal for me.
Yeah,
it was just
it wasn't.
me trying to figure out other things and not focusing on like the little details. Like obviously like with you and your issues with the whole thing. I didn't notice it until you pointed it out to me, but I was just enjoying the whole trying to figure things out. And I wasn't focusing on that. But if I did reread it, oh yeah, I would not have a good time.
That's so interesting. I didn't notice it either. I think I was really into the lore in the second book and just the continued world building that we got. And when they started, just I wanted to know why there are so many creatures and so many different beings in Crescent City. So I liked the exploration of that in book 2. And I think I was more focused on like the world building aspects and finally seeing characters that we saw in book 1 but didn't really hear too much from, like Rune and Ethan. So I love those aspects of the book, and then I love the end. So
yeah, me too.
I wish I had not been so like irritated with everything, but God, everything. I was like, and characters I liked too in the first book, like Therion. But I'm like, I don't why were we doing any of this with him? What the hell's the point? So
see, I didn't like him in the first book, and then in this one, I was just like, why are we in his perspective so much? Because he was not he wasn't a character. I was like, oh, I hope Therion is in this more, like
Yeah, I would have liked him to be in it, but like not in that capacity. I was like, this is stupid. Can we do something else with him? Please?
I really liked being in Rune's head though. That one was my favorite.
That was my favorite. I really enjoyed Rune in this book, but
I didn't.
But I do agree with
Deshaun was like, no.
I do agree with Deshauna though that the characters have changed in this book for sure. Like Bryce's one-liners was just like too little, like too much. Yeah, like the first time was like, okay, yeah, we see it, but then after like the 5th and 6th time, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, I just feel like I've realized that with romance, I like romance, right? Like I like smut, I like sexy times, and I like two characters who like have really great sexual chemistry, right? Of course, like, that's the dream, right? Everybody's looking for that. And so it's fun to read about. But when all they are is horny for each other And like, oh, we love each other so much because we talked about our trauma a couple times. I'm like, okay, and you could do that with anybody. Why is this particular person like your person? All I'm seeing is that you're horny for each other and you had a couple conversations about the crap you've been through. I'm not seeing like other chemistry. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not seeing you guys like connecting really and like cute, heartwarming, wholesome, little adorable moments. I'm not seeing any of that. And I'm not seeing just like friendship level connection. You're just horny for each other. And so we're soulmates. I'm just like,
Yeah,
that's not
all
enough.
we hear is like parts tightening. That's all we hear about.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
Like, and can't even be in a room together without like, I'm like, that's not the epitome of love, Sarah. Like, love is more than like, oh, I can't even literally be in a group conversation about something serious without like thinking about wanting to be inside of you. Like, no, you can. I promise.
you've just never been in love, Tiana.
Yes.
But that's part of what I know everybody hates on a fated mate trope, but one of the things I like about a fated mate trope is that it just gives you a basis of like the universe, the gods, whatever has decided these two people are for each other. So like it helps me suspend some of my disbelief of that stuff because it's just like, I don't know, like for science says that you guys are going to be together. So like, I guess now
and that's what they have going on. I don't know. I like the fated mate thing too.
Yeah, but I feel like it's done better.
I feel like there's more chemistry.
Yeah, I feel like it's done better in her other books than this one.
Yes, I'm rereading the Throne of Glass series, and no spoilers for anybody who hasn't read it or whatever, but the romance in the first book, the main one that like never actually goes anywhere after that, but like they're so freaking cute. They're so freaking cute together. They're adorable, and like they just like all their interactions together, like they're flirtatious and whatever, but they're also just like on a friendship level, like such a good connection. I'm like, oh, they're just so cute.
Yeah, it is cute.
You know, I want a little bit of that, not all of that, but a little bit. And I just in House of Sky and Breath, I was like, I'm getting none of this. I'm just, you guys are horny. Like I said, I felt like Sarah J. Maas was trying to like shove it down my throat and like convince me that they were really great together with these really corny, like the stupid freaking sword conversation where Bryce is being all like, I'll take it on the weekends, every other weekend, haha, like, oh, custody of the like the child, right? Like, okay, whatever, very obvious thing. And then Hunt is like, yeah, and then for Christmas, we'll have it for Christmas, and you'll have it for Thanksgiving, or whatever the heck, like every other holiday too, ha ha ha. And then it's like everyone looked at them like they had 10 heads. What are they talking about? And then they're like, oh, we just get each other. Literally in the book, she says, he just gets her. Whatever it is, whatever they're about, he just gets her. And I was like, this is stupid. Anyone would get that. This isn't like some little quirky inside joke between just the two of them. Like, this is very common, like, dumb dad joke stuff. Like, what are we talking about? I'm like, I get that you're trying to convince me that they're just like, look at what a good match they are. They just understand each other. I'm like, this isn't it. This is not it. This is stupid. I was so irritated.
Did it stop me from rating it 5 stars? No.
Oh my goodness.
Sure did for me. 1 star. Oh God.
That is hilarious. I think at this point, I love how much you don't like it. I think that's what's fun for me.
It's like objectively, like it would be like a 3-4, but like emotionally.
Yeah. 5. Emotionally, yeah.
It was ruined for me. Any emotional crap. I was just like, I don't care at all anymore. It is what it is. Oh, too funny. All right. Well, okay. I've been negative for a long time, so let's be positive again. Top 3 to 5. Top few. Top however many. Faves.
Okay, we'll start from 3rd. Probably Radiance by Grace Draven.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. And then second one, Daughter of the Forest. Second one, Daughter of the Forest, but the first one, Spanish Love Deception. I'm such a basic person. Like that was amazing. Like the slow burn. Everyone complained about how long it is, but I'm just here. Just give me all the content. slow burn romance.
Have you read any Mariana Zapata?
No, but I
Okay.
want to.
If you like a slow burn and you like a kind of like fan fiction-y quality of just slow burn, very idiosyncratic writing style. Anyway, she's the queen of the slow burn. So
I do want to give her a try.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It's good stuff.
Nice. That's fun. Yeah,
Radiance
that is one
was so cute though. Radiance was so cute.
It is so cute.
It's
So
such a cinnamon roll romance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I loved it so much. However, I did not like the fantasy aspect of it because I felt like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's like the least important part for me.
For me, that's just like background. Like it's
yeah,
like
I barely.
Yeah.
But I think because Leanna told me that, she was like, "Listen, just don't worry about any of that." And she told me too up front, like, don't continue on with the series.
I have heard that too.
Yeah, she told me not to read book 2 out, but I was like, "Look, I own it. I'm gonna read it." And then after I finished it, I was like, "Leanna, you were right." She's like, "I told you. Like, I had to read it. I had to. I owned it."
Yeah, I've heard that, so I didn't continue. But that first book is like just adorable.
It is so cute. I really like Joshana, you said about like the other book that you would reread it when for like a comfy read. This would be mine.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love A Marriage of Convenience.
Yeah,
I'm a sucker for that. So,
but this one, instead of like bantering, they slowly grow into something that is so beautiful and so gentle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's respect. It's like I don't know what the cute little pithy whatever, but it's like these are two just like nice people who just respect each other and love from there.
Who knew I liked that? I thought I just liked people ragging on each other, but who knew?
It's bringing out a different side of you, Vish.
I know.
Too funny. How about you, Tori?
So my top 3 would be, the first is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. It's a romance. And again, outside of my usual reading preferences, I have not read a romance in, I can't even tell you. It was so good. That book honestly has my whole heart right now. I still think about it. I still remember so many scenes from the book. It was so good. So it's a second chance romance, and these characters, Shane and Eva, they knew each other for like a week in June when they were teenagers. And then in the future, well, in the present day, they're both authors and they come back into each other's lives for another 7 days in June. Oh, I love it so much. I get so emotional just thinking about it. So that was amazing. Who knew I enjoyed a second chance romance novel, but
we love it.
And then, I need more now. I feel like I need more.
It sounds really similar to Beach Read. Maybe have you read Beach Read by Emily Henry? I think you should read that because it sounds very similar to 7 Days in June.
I'm gonna check it out.
It's not second chance though.
It's not second chance, but they're both authors that meet at like these individual beach houses, and they kind of swap genres.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, and
I'm adding it to the TBR.
Yeah, her new one that comes out in May is Book Lovers, and it's 2 people in publishing. So again, if you like that aspect.
Putting her on my list. What's her, Emily Henry?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Her writing is so good too.
However, I did not like People We Meet on Vacation, so I don't know.
You. I hate it, but like I feel like I am the weirdo who doesn't like that book very much. Like it's objectively fine, but I didn't enjoy it the same way. Yeah.
I just thought the 2 main characters were just over the top and like too try-hardy. I didn't like it. And I felt like the stakes of the romance were very just menial.
Well, I also structurally had a problem with it. I think it would have been much more effective if it had been linear as opposed to like going back and forth. Like, because I think it just took a lot of the wind out of the sail. Okay, thank you. I feel very alone. It was on everybody's end of your best list, and I was like, not for me. Okay. Anyway.
Sorry, go on.
Oh no, this is exciting. I have added Beach Read and Book Lovers to my list. So and then my second best of quarter 1 will be Upgrade by Blake Crouch. This is actually an arc that I read. It comes out like in, I think, early July. It was so good. You guys know probably Blake Crouch, sci-fi thriller. just action packed. But I love the message behind Upgrade. I think more so than his book like Dark Matter or even his short story Summer Frost. It was really good. This main character, he is somewhat futuristic, and I don't know how to explain it. He's like on this mission and he's caught up in this explosion, and the explosion after that, his mind is enhanced and he just can multitask. He's just become super smart, and there's something that becomes a threat to humanity that he has to take care of, and it's good. I think it's a good human message behind the book, so I really love that. And then my third one is Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas. I'm still making my way through the Throne of Glass series. I loved Empire of Storms. I was reading that on vacation for my birthday, and I'm like on the plane sobbing at the end of the book. And the stewardess is concerned, and I'm just like, I'm fine. It's just like, give me another like glass of wine, please. I'm just reading. Oh, the end of that book was so good.
Dude,
I don't
Throne
know.
of Glass is like such
I don't know what to say.
top notch. Like, here comes the cavalry,
Yeah.
epic, oh my god moments like throughout that series.
Oh,
Yeah.
Book
Empire
book
Storms
5
is my
really
favorite.
brought that. Yeah, it was good. It was so good. I came out of that with some new favorite characters, and I loved it. I'm excited to finish the series. I've been on Tower of Dawn for like 2 months at this point.
God,
I'm not struggling through it. I just keep picking up other things, but I'll get through it eventually and finish Kingdom of Ash. Yeah, Empire.
I liked Tower of Dawn. It wasn't that
Yeah, it's not that I'm disliking it.
It wasn't as bad as I was expecting. Like, I didn't have as bad of a time as I thought I would, because Kale, I can't.
I liked Kale after that. I was like, okay, you know what?
He's like fine. He's just so boring.
He's so boring. I'm not a fan of him at all.
But
you're honorable. Shut up already. God.
But the person he meets in Tower of Dawn,
yeah, and like things happen in it that like you need to know about, like world building, plot things that are like. But I'm like, when like right now I'm rereading it. When we get to Tower of Dawn, I'm gonna read the book series recaps.com recap of it rather than actually read it, because I'm like, no.
I'm pushing through it. It's fine. But yeah, Empire of Storms was amazing. So I loved it.
Yay. Fun.
Yeah.
All right, Mara, how about you?
I'm gonna go with like my favorite in like for like genres. So I'd say my favorite nonfiction book was Bad Fat Black Girl by Cecily Bowen, which is a memoir. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around.
It's well, also considering that, I don't know, does anybody follow the dust up on feminism? It's also a relevant thing to just go ahead and read that as opposed to
that other thing.
Yes, but it's really well written. I think that she does a really good job of like incorporating like theory, like womanist or feminist theory into her story. Also, the cover is iconic. Anyway,
it's a really good.
Yeah, it's
it's a great cover.
I'd say my favorite romance, because I'm trash, is Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, which comes out in August. It is, I just love it. It has the things I love. If you did not like The Love Hypothesis, you will not like this book. If you like The Love Hypothesis, you probably will like this book.
I'm assuming you loved Love Hypothesis.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Because I really want to read it.
I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's as good as The Love Hypothesis, but it has a lot of the same things that I loved about that book and more sex. So that's exciting.
Obviously, that's a plus.
Yeah, clearly. The end is pretty over the top, but again, for me, Ali Hazelwood is like a refined version of fan fiction style, which is like it's kind of over the top, but that's what I'm here for. Like I like it, and I'm just going with it.
Yeah, like that's why I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like that's the point.
Yeah, so I don't think it's as good as The Love Hypothesis, but it gave me the same energy, the same dopamine hit. So favorite fantasy is Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse, which as of this recording comes out on Tuesday. I think by the time this goes up, it'll be out, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wednesday.
So yeah. It's, I think it's definitely a reset. Like it's definitely a middle book. But I just love the characters so much, and I love the world, and I think thematically it has some really interesting things happening, and we get a new point of view that I'm into. Like I really love this book, but I feel like I'm going to be in the minority. We'll see.
Did you like it better than Black Sun?
No, but Black Sun is like one of my all-time favorite books. So like,
oh wow, okay,
you need to
that's
read
awesome.
it. A lot of good things.
It's good. I love Rebecca Roanhorse's writing. I love her like storytelling style. I love her world building. Like she's just an author for me. So
yeah, she's good.
Yeah. I didn't love Trail of Lightning. It was fine. I liked it.
No, I was about to mention that. I love Trail of Lightning. I actually like that better than Black Sun.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very different, I think, genre-wise. So, like, if you don't like urban fantasy, you won't like Trail of Lightning.
I do like urban fantasy.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So she may just not be for you, because I really love Trail of Lightning, too.
I didn't love it. But I didn't, dislike it. I think I gave it, 3 or 3.25 or something. I was like, yeah, it was cool. It was fine, I guess. But, yeah, Black Sun I loved.
She's just an auto-buy for me. Like, I've at least enjoyed everything I've read from her, if not loved it. So,
yeah.
So I really love Favorite Star.
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
I don't hate the cover the way everybody else seems to. So anyway.
Oh, Favorite Star.
Very different.
It
is just different.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it. So that was my favorite fantasy. And then my favorite book of the quarter, and just kind of surprisingly, is a mystery called The Woman in the Library, which comes out in June by Sulari Gentile. And it's it's a book within a book, which I'm a sucker for. And it's also a reverse locked room mystery. The book within the book is, because we know one of the murderers was in a room when somebody died. So and
I know this one. I actually requested the ARC. I haven't got it yet, but I do want to read this.
I think it's really fun. It's very entertaining. And there's also a romantic element that I like, the way that it's commented on, and the framing, also the framing device is one of my favorite framing devices I've ever read, because it goes a place that I was like, whoa, okay. I started getting inklings of it. And then I was like, is this what's going on? And then that was what was going on. And I was like, okay, I'm into this. Yeah, anyway, I think it's super entertaining. It's very fun. I think it can be read with some deeper themes and stuff. And it just hit the spot for me. I just was so entertained by it. So yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Love it.
What about you?
Top ones, I'm looking at my ratings. I mean, I reread House of Earth and Blood and gave it 4.5 again. So Many Beginnings, I gave 4.5, but honestly, that would actually probably be a 4.75 when I'm looking at it. There was a couple things in the writing style that I didn't love, so that's why I didn't give it 5. But so probably 4.75 for that. And then Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan, I gave 4.5. The rest of that series, the Rhaeria Revelations, it's 3 books, and each one I rated slightly lower than the one before. So I didn't end up loving that series the way I love Legends of the First Empire, but I still liked it. And then I think my favorite would either, I guess, have to be either So Many Beginnings or Women of Chateau Lafayette by Stephanie Dre, which is historical fiction. That was a new release too. And one that I hadn't planned on picking up, I didn't even know about. And then Monet was like, you want to body read this? Because we were talking about historical fiction. I was like, sure. And yeah, it was so good. It's so huge, but I read through it really fast because I was just so fascinated. It's 3 women throughout different wars in history, the American Revolution and French Revolution. And then that's one woman we're following who's a real person in history. And then during World War I, and that is another real person in history. And then World War II is a made-up character based on people in the area at the time, and it's all centering this chateau, this castle in France, and these 3 women all have ties to it throughout time. And it was just so good.
Sounds so good. What's the title again, Joshana?
the women of Chateau Lafayette. Yeah. And like there's one, I like all three of them a lot because they're all very like, I don't know, just like women ahead of their time kind of thing, doing what needs to be done, stepping up to the plate, to, I don't know, for the betterment of others, things like that. Very like good sense of integrity, I guess I would say, is like a theme throughout. They all like have their convictions and are just like, no, this is what I believe and what I'm going to stick to. And every choice I make is going to be like in service of this like belief I have and like this goal I have. So yeah, I just really, really liked it. And there's one woman who is like the funniest, sassy, the World War II one. Oh my God, she is like a sassafras and I love it. Just like attitude and oh my God, I love her so much.
Nice.
She's my fave. But yeah, so that was probably my favorite so far. Which isn't a fantasy, which is weird, but what are you gonna do?
Hey.
All right, this will be our final one because we've gone quite a while here. And did you have to hop off, Tori?
I do have to hop off in like
go first,
like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you can go first.
So, did I complete it? No, I did not complete any series in Q1. I completed one at the very beginning of Q2. So
Nice.
that doesn't count. It was the Red Rising series by Chris Brown. Well, the first trilogy, but nothing in Q1.
How'd you feel about it?
I loved it. That is one of my favorite trilogies now. It's so good. So if we do like another Worldhoppers video about Q2, like I will go into full detail. It was amazing.
Nice. That is one that I feel like such a hater sometimes. I'm like, I like things. I swear to God. I liked Red Rising and then I DNF'd Golden Sun.
How
and
did
I didn't get that far into
Golden Sun?
Yeah, I didn't
got like
Rising, but everyone told me Golden Sun was amazing, but I'm not great at it, but
I got like 3 or 4 chapters in. I was like, I just don't care. I don't care about any of this crap.
Oh,
it is very different to Red Rising, I'll say.
Yeah.
But I still really enjoyed Golden Sun. It was very good.
I'm a hater.
I loved it. I don't know what's going on over there, Joshana, but
I swear I like stuff. I do. I like a lot of things. Just not some of the more popular things, I guess. I don't know. I just it's too easy for me to DNF, I think, is the problem. Like there's so many books I DNF where like I wasn't hating them and I wasn't like, oh, this is terrible. I'm just like, I don't care. All right, close the book. I'm done. Like,
yeah, that's
I'm over it. Yeah.
But yeah, that was it.
Okay. Cool. Vish, how about you?
I'm the same as Tori. My goal or a series completed is in quarter 2.
Okay.
Which was Hero of Ages. I have literally, I literally completed Well of Ascension 2 years ago.
Oh,
I'm completing it now. I was too scared for it to end. But I finally did it 2 years later. But in quarter 1, very satisfying. I was like, I finally completed this. I finally get what everyone's talking about. But in quarter 1, nothing really. I finally started Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. Still haven't finished it. Will finish it next week. But finally started that.
Nice.
Cool.
Pretty good.
I loved that first book in that series.
Oh, yeah. I actually wasn't vibing with the first half, but the second half.
Yeah.
That was very good. Mm-hmm. But the second one was very political and character driven, but I'm very excited to see how it's going to end. So I think it's going to
DNF the third book.
Oh, no.
But for very like stupid like Joshana reasons of just like something was annoying me and I just got to a certain point where I was like, oh my God, I'm over it. I don't care. Bye. Just something.
Is it to do with the romance?
Yes.
Okay. I can see that because with the second book, I'm just like, get over it already. Like I don't really care about that anymore. I just want to see how it ends. Yeah. But it was still beautifully written, very atmospheric, and I love the side characters and the world building. So I'm very excited to finish it today's Monday now. So today, I'm going to start today. when I wake up.
How about you, Mara?
The only two things that come to mind for me are I finished finally after like 3 years of putting it off. I finished the Heartstone trilogy by L. Catherine White.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily recommend going past the first book because it does read as a standalone. But that's one of my all-time favorite books. So like,
Yeah,
it was worth finishing for me, but I wouldn't say the other two were good. Basically, the pitch is it's Pride and Prejudice, but with dragons. Like it's literally a Pride and Prejudice retelling.
Wait, what was the name again?
It's just like, hold on.
You literally have a dragon on my
I've had
arm.
it like on my radar for years because of you talking about it. I'm like,
I love that book, but I don't think the next two, unless you are like me and just love that first book and want to spend more time in the world with the characters, is worth going on for. But Heartstone it's like ye fantasy version of England, and like the Lizzie character is a herb healer, the Darcy character is a dragon rider, warrior dude. So it gives.
Oh, I've seen this cover. I even have it as one to read.
Yeah, you should read it if you love. Yeah, it's good. So I finished that trilogy, which felt like just like an accomplishment because that's been hanging over my head for a long time. And then I finished the Live Ship Traders series by Robin Hobb. So I'm into the Tawny Man trilogy now. But
fun. I
so
thought about skipping to the Live Ship Traders because I didn't really like the Assassin's Apprentice.
I would recommend doing that if you are not vibing with. I think skipping to Live Ship could give you energy to go back and get through the first one. But I think if you didn't like Assassin's Apprentice, it's worth trying Live Ship because it is a pretty different. It's still Robin Hobb, but it's multi POV. It's more action, like
a different experience.
It's a very different experience. So I think it's worth trying to see if you can like it.
Cool. Yeah, I will someday.
Yeah, those are big old books. So that was definitely an accomplishment.
Yes, Robin Hobb has a lot to say.
He is
so big.
Yeah. Though actually, now that I'm through that one, like the next couple of like the Tawny Man trilogy and then the Rain Wilds, they're shorter books. I mean, like the one I just finished was like 500 or 600 pages as opposed to like 1,000 pages. So it's long, but comparatively, they're a little less intimidating.
Nice. I did not complete any. Well, one I almost finished in quarter one, but I did technically finish at the beginning of April. But the Marillier Revelations, I started. That was the first, Theft of Swords was the first book I read this year, and then I finished that. I was gonna go right on to the Marillier Chronicles, but I'm kind of like, I don't really care at this point, like because it's like the prequel to the Revelations, and like so I already know what happens to these characters because I've read Marillier Revelations. So I'm kind of like, I don't really care that much. I think I'm just gonna skip over to Nolan, his newer series that started. I was gonna like read through them all, but can't be bothered. And I have not completed any other goals either, which is a bummer. And I've blown out of the water my budget goal, but that's whatever.
Oh, we won't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't need to worry.
Yeah,
like, why did I even make that a goal, Joshana? God.
Rookie mistake.
Yeah.
I'll just delete it like I always delete my goals if they're upsetting me. I'm like, we don't need to see you anymore. You never happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Never happened.
Never happened.
That's so funny.
Too funny. Well, cool. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We went a little longer, but that's cool. I kind of figured that would happen. That's why I was like, oh, we only have 4 people. I was like, I think that'll be fine.
We got coffees.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Lots of books to talk about. So thank you so much. And I'll let you get back to your days, or for Vish, let you go to sleep.
Right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
12:30 a.m.
So thank you everyone for joining. Let us know in the comments what maybe, your favorite or least favorite was that you've read so far in quarter one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.